Hello and welcome to Sobricks. I'm Adam and this is Sobricks. This is my channel for reviewing Lego sets and building them and other Lego related stuff. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon Microfighter set. This is set number 75295. It has 101 pieces, and I paid $12 for this set. Now, I believe this set is retired. I actually recently did a video about the Micro Taun and AT-AT, which if we look at the back of this, it says collect both, so they probably were released around the same time. I did not get either of these at release, so I got the Taun and AT-AT one in the aftermarket on the internet. This one I found a sealed copy at a store near me that has comic books and collectibles and action figures and Lego. And so I got this from there. $12 is a little high, but I do get the Han Solo minifigure, and I know they have to make their money too, so I justified it. I thought it made sense in my mind. So either way, in this video, I'm going to open this up, I'm going to put this together, and then I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So while I build, I will speed the video up, and then I'll slow it back down to review this set. So until then, enjoy. Okay, so that is this Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon Microfighter set. This is pretty great. I don't have a problem spending $12 on this. There's good stuff here. It's chunky, it's nice, it's thick. Feels really good in the hand. And just for as a heads up, I have kind of a special thing towards the end of the video that I'll be doing. We're looking at this in comparison with some other stuff from Lego history, but my first instinct is that my first impression is that this is pretty great. So the first thing we'll take a look at, like we normally do, is the minifigure here, and we get a Han Solo minifigure. So pretty good, pretty standard, nice printing for the torso, having kind of the vest there, the arms match the printing of the torso, so that's okay. Face printing's pretty good. We do have the hair piece, have an alternate face there. If we look at the back of the torso, pretty basic. And then we do have a little bit of printing on the midsection. You can kind of see a belt buckle there. We do have printing on the legs as well, which is nice. So it's a pretty good minifigure. They have the minifigure accessory of a blaster. And then the rest of the build is this Millennium Falcon. So it's a microfighter, but it's good. It's got some good heft to it. There's not crazy big pieces or anything, but it feels very, very solid. I think captures a lot of the kind of details that would be required. I think it's recognizable as the Millennium Falcon. Of course, we have a couple studs over here, which is where Han Solo can be seated and studded down there, so we can put them in there. This is a printed cone piece here, which is for kind of the bay or the cockpit area of the Falcon. We have some translucent up fronts for maybe some blasters here, a little bit of greebly stuff in the middle, a little gap there, which is where I think the ramp is, so they can walk in. Some greebly stuff around the corner. I really like the uses of when it's when something's dark bluish gray versus light bluish gray. A nice rounding out use of these cheese slopes on the side, studs on the side stuff. Coming around the back, we have, you know, the exhaust. I don't know if it's the warp drive or what the actual deal is. I think this is pretty good. They do use some clips pieces here, some modified plates to then close that up, and I think the overall effect is really nice. It does get the roundness pretty well. Over on the other side, we have almost a mirror, but we do have the little part that juts out for the cockpit. Looking at the top, we have different tiles of various colors and shapes up there for different details, covering up some of the studs. We have some slopes here, cheese slopes back here. some vented tiles there. We also have these two stud shooters here, which have the red translucent studs there. We have a little bit of a satellite dish here as well. So this is pretty good. If we look at the bottom, we have a couple of these upside down tiles for the bottom, so this can slide around and it just feels good, doesn't get caught on anything, gives it a little more height too if you're looking at it. And overall, this is really nice. It's a lot of small pieces, but it's pretty good. It feels, similar to the Taun and AT-AT, but I think this is better. Let me grab those actually quick. Okay, so here we have all three of these together. And again, the only reason I'm really comparing them is because they're on the same box, and I think they were released around the same time. So Series 8, and they're just, it says collect both here. So I have this one, now I have this one, so we can take a look at that. And yeah, I mean, these are very good. This was a 2-pack, which I did like, but this one just feels much more robust, much more built up, even though this might have 100 pieces, this might have 100 pieces or something close to that. Something about this one really feels a lot better in my hand. Doesn't feel as kind of weak or light or something. It feels very, very solid, which is nice. Of course, the colors are pretty much the same, but yeah, I think the Millennium Falcon's my favorite out of these three, but I did like getting the 2-in-1 pack there as well. And this is pretty good. So 101 pieces, paid $12. It probably retailed for $10. If it came out in 2023, it might retail for $15 or $16. $12 for a retired sealed set like this doesn't bother me too much, especially with the minifigure. Minifigure's pretty good, if a bit common, as are some of these other pieces here. We do get a couple extra of the translucent reds for the stud shooters, which is nice to get that. The Taun and the AT-AT didn't have stud shooters, but I believe the AT-AT Pilot had a minifigure accessory one, a handheld one. So this one's nice with those up top, but it's also kind of its own extra little greebling type detail up there, and one of those trigger pieces wasn't in all the way. But I will show the extra pieces for the Millennium Falcon here. Your 1x1s, your studs, your tiles, your slopes, the trigger piece there, just your basic extra pieces, so that's good, as well as the 2 extra translucent reds for the stud shooter. You get 1 other extra one there, but usually if there's 2 here, you can have 2 loaded in, have 2 extra, and then the 5th one there is kind of like the extra piece because of the weight, just to make sure. So yeah, I think this is great. I was very happy to find a sealed copy of this at a place local to me, so I didn't have to worry about shipping or anything like that. And this is pretty cool, and I think it's, yeah, like I say, very, very true to the Millennium Falcon, and it looks a little silly, but it's great. So happy to see that. I would have liked for the newest Microfighter, the N1 with Mando and Grogu, I would have liked that to be $12. That would have even been better than $16. I haven't actually even bought that set yet, just because I out of principle a little bit, but maybe I will eventually, just so I can take a look at it, and but we'll see. But I do really like this. And then I kind of have a special thing that I wanted to do, because back in the day, maybe in 2001-ish, 2002, pretty early on in the Lego Star Wars journey, when Lego officially got some of the Star Wars stuff, I was collecting back then in I guess late 90s, early 2000s it must have been. I don't know the exact time frame, so forgive me for that. But during the prequel era of the movies releasing, I was a lot younger. It's 20 years ago, and I was collecting Lego Star Wars back then. So I actually had like the first version of the Playscale Millennium Falcon they ever did, which maybe sometime I'll show that on this channel. I also had the first like Yoda statue that was a buildable thing, as well as I had the newer one as well, but I had the original one, which is kind of interesting, as well as a bunch of other small Lego sets from all different sizes, all back there, Naboo starfighters and this and that and the other thing, tons of sequel sets from like the very first waves of Lego Star Wars. And one of the things I have is actually also the, I believe, the second Millennium Falcon that Lego has ever done. and that is set number 4488, which says a mini building set, Lego Star Wars Millennium Falcon. It says 1 of 4, which is right here. Now, again, I believe this came out early 2000s, maybe in I think early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 2003, probably about there. And this was a mini building set. It's not the exact same as Micro. They are different. These don't come with a minifigure or anything like that. I don't believe they have any real internal details either. Let me get this back on here. And I think it's just really interesting to compare these, compare how like the instruction booklets have changed, but also some of the building things here. So as you can see for this one, this is a large printed disc. Now, I don't know if this is part of the era where Lego almost went bankrupt for making too many printed details. As we can see here on the modern one, some of these things are done just brick built. So with tiles there, with vented pieces, with these stud shooters. So it's just a different philosophy. Now, this disc piece is also, I think, bigger than maybe what they wanted for the Microfighter, Micro versus Mini. Maybe that's an official thing, maybe not. But isn't this a cool printed piece here? It's so unique and so big and really well done. I mean, the production work on it is very good. The difference in colors is really nice. The lines are very, very clean. So I love that. And then we also have these printed pieces, which they spin around here. These are another tile here, which again are very, very detailed prints. And those are on both sides, which is for, I don't know if it's for the bays or something like that, but that's really cool. I love to see that here. Obviously, the cockpit area is very rudimentary, super stripped down, not much detail there at all, not much built out at all. This is like wider, like I say. The back for like the exhaust area or the warp drive or whatever is very different. The overall shape is different. I think it's so interesting that so much of this is just one plate thick. We just have one plate thick through here, whereas now I don't know if they would do that. They have this like, 4 plates thick or more, like a brick plus. And this at the thickest is maybe pretty similar, but these discs do eat up a lot. So I thought it was really interesting to take a look at these compared to each other. I like that, the build strategy for these satellite dishes, antenna things haven't changed too much, but there is one change. I mean, this one does have an extra hollow stud at the back of it. Whoa. Whereas the old one does not have that piece there. So it's just that kind of megaphone piece plugged right into the back of that disc. But I just thought it was a really interesting thing to take a look at. So Microfighter from a couple years ago maybe here, and versus the mini fighter from 20 years ago. Just looking at the different design philosophy, and I thought this was really cool. I would love for Lego to do this again. Back in the day when they were doing these mini building sets, if you can see here, it says 1 out of 4 on the instructions, because these sets included extra pieces. So for this one, after we get all this done, it included enough for a Y-wing like thruster or something back there. So if you look at this, there was 4 of these, and in each, if you got each one of them, you got a segment of a final build. So you could put this together, you would get this kind of thruster Y element. And then if you had the other ones, you could add these all together and get a 5th minifigure. So by buying 4 of these sets, you would get then a 5th one here. So if you bought the Millennium Falcon, the AT-AT, the Republic gunship, and the, I don't know if this is like the Sandcrawler or the droid thing or what, I can't remember exactly the name for this is, but they've done it a few times. If you got all 4 of these, you would also get this Y-wing. And then I believe there was kind of a, I don't know if Sith is the right word. I think there was another one that released alongside of this, and I can't remember what it was. I'm pretty sure it was another one, so I'll have to double check and look at my other mini builds from around this time, because I know I have a mini Star Destroyer from around this time as well. maybe at some point I'll go through some of my very old sets from way back in the day. Like I say, I do have that first Millennium Falcon. That one also had these huge printed wedge pieces that were super specialized, really, really ugly. Maybe the worst Millennium Falcon they've done. And then I think, like I say, I think this is the second one that was ever released. Now there have been so many different iterations of the Millennium Falcon. There have been 2 UCS versions at least. I think 2 UCS. Now we're going to get, I think next year, a like MIDI scale one like we had of the Super Star Destroyer this year, which is going to be great. I'm excited about that. But there have been so many play scales version of the Millennium Falcon, so many micro scales, mini scales, all different scales of the Millennium Falcon. I happen to have a couple of the first ones, and I just thought that was maybe a neat little tidbit to take a look at. So a nice little dose of Lego Star Wars history here. And so back looking at this microfighter, 75295, this is really cool. I'm very, very happy with this. $12, maybe it was a little bit of a tax. Maybe it was a little bit of a premium pay. I don't mind that. I probably would have paid even more for this. So I think I got my value here. Would have loved to get this at retail, but no sweat for me. So I'm very, very happy with this. And it was a nice trip down memory lane for me to also compare this to that other set. So this was a real joy to find, joy to build, and wonderful to talk about. So I had a blast and I really like this. If you like this video, please consider clicking the thumbs up and giving it a like. And if you like my other videos, please consider clicking the subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all the Lego videos I'll be doing here in the future, including more Lego Star Wars, maybe going back to some 20-year-old sets from way back when Lego Star Wars first started, because I do have a lot of those. So maybe if people are interested, I can do some videos about those sets as well. But also just tons of other Lego sets from all different themes, all different shapes, sizes, price points, and piece counts, tons of different stuff. So subscribe so you don't miss any of my upcoming Lego videos. And if you want to support this channel, support my videos here, you can do that right through YouTube with supers and with memberships, where if you join in the membership on YouTube, you get access to all my videos early and some other stuff in the works for there. And I still have the Patreon, $2 a month, same kind of deal as the membership, just not right through YouTube. So maybe consider checking those out. Every little bit helps and it is appreciated. So thank you very much. I'm just very grateful to anyone who watches, very grateful for all the engagement. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. And with all that said, until next time, thanks. Bye.